The usual statement is together we stand and divided we fall. But recently, it has changed to something more like divided we stand and united in separation.
Yeah, united in separation.
Yes.
But physical separation, that's
Yes.
physical distancing.
Yes.
And officially there's a lockdown in Nigeria. And this continues, so we can call it a lockdown Wednesday, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's necessary to stop the spread of the pandemic. And one of the ways to achieve that is through social or physical distancing.
Yes, thank you for joining us on the #1 premium family show. It is Wake Up Nigeria. Now, we won't change, and we will be here for you from 6 a.m. every weekday to 8:45. Yes,
indeed. As always, we have a total package for you for your viewing pleasure. I like that. Remember to strictly follow all health guidelines that the government and the NCDC, WHO have for you against the virus. Now, the advice is to remain indoors, wash your hands as often as possible, and just stay safe. My name is Yomi Owope.
And my name is Tope Olowoniyan. Now, you can stream the show live at tvcentertainment.tv and on Facebook at TVC Connect.
Also send in your comments across all our social media platforms. What are you up to this Wednesday at home? Send us a photograph, a video, whatever it is, and we'll probably read it on air. And probably tag you as well.
Yeah, so remember to download our app. It is available on any Android and iOS store. And guess what? It allows you to watch us from anywhere in the world.
You can watch us anywhere you are. Now, to start off the show this morning, we are going to be having a daily vulnerable with Chude Jidowo. Interior designer and creative director of the exclusive lifestyle interiors, Tunde Shanu, will be talking to us about 6 important things to consider when styling your interior.
And Seyi Olushore of the famed Fastest Shedder, a fitness brand and Nigeria's first weight loss reality TV show, will be joining us for a chat via Skype as well.
Yeah.
Now, wellness is a key factor in life, and Dr. Ijewere joins us to share about the importance of well-being, most especially during this period.
Now, relationship expert Theo Akatuba is back today and is going to be joining us via Skype. The 7 languages of love for couples during the stay-at-home continuation from last week.
Next, award-winning filmmaker Umanu Ojochenemi Elijah is an ace filmmaker who is vast in cinematography, editing, and movie directing. Recently shot a short film about COVID-19. We will be having a chat with him.
Yeah.
Hey.
Welcome to Wednesday. So I saw a social media post that you put up, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
You were looking out the window. I was like, this girl is so dramatic. What's the meaning of this?
I'm watching COVID-19. Like.
Yeah. So what was in your mind? Because people don't really know. So you see something on social media, but you never really know the backstory. The backstory is all they tell you on
the caption.
On the caption. So what's the backstory to that photograph?
How much do you want to pay?
What was in your mind?
So this period, I have been experimenting my photography skills. And I've had the opportunity to just take myself random pictures without makeup and just try on some editing apps and feel like I can now be a photographer. So I just thought the light was looking good from the window and I'm like, okay, let's do something deep. Hey, COVID-19.
So, lots of people have been, it's good to have social media as an outlet because a lot of people have been using it as a coping mechanism.
Yes.
Not just celebrities, just ordinary people just trying to tell the world that this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm coping. People are dancing, people are trying to... and one of the most important things that I've heard from experts locally and internationally is as much as possible, keep active.
Yeah.
So once you keep active, your adrenaline level is up. It continues to pump, positive hormones in your body, and then you can just, keep your mood up as much as possible. Because sometimes, if you leave it for a little while, you just, it just gets dampened and begins to drag down. So, really, really key to ensure that you keep the mood up at a certain level, at least. Maybe not too high, but at a certain level is important.
I kind of like envy parents at this point. I feel like you guys have so much activity going on in your life. Like you have the kids to focus on, you have the chores to do. I feel like us are just there.
Oh my goodness. Look, when you have kids, I'm sure that there are mothers especially who are watching right now and they're saying that, look, it's not that easy.
Hey, but you're busy now.
it's quite tough. Now that some schools have online courses and they've started the term, like my kids started the term on Monday.
Okay.
It's been tough because you have to stay with them through, it's like homeschooling essentially.
Yeah.
And the resources are online, but you have to still guide them, especially when they're very young, like 5 or 6 and all of that. So yeah.
But I think that's so cute. Like that's like mother-child bonding moment. Like when the child grows, you don't want to be foolish to remember that, oh, mommy took care of me when I was homeschooling.
True. Anyway, it's good. We're going to be taking the news update now, and in a bid to continue to assure residents of their safety in Lagos, the police is still carrying on with their night patrol as directed by the Lagos State Commissioner of Police. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano reports.
It's going to be a long night, so our team was mentally and psychologically ready for the long drive round town that touched most parts of the mainland. The short convoy with fully armed police officers moved from Okoba to Abuleba and then to Abado. Obviously, able young men in Lagos are still poised on securing their neighborhood. Our crew also noticed that they were doing this in conjunction with the police, who were also stationed in the area. Since it was well past midnight, they made sure they accosted cars that were on the road. At every stop, the police interacted with the different groups, allaying their fears of any possible armed robbery attacks by any group. From Alabado, the team headed to Surulere through Oshodi-Apapa Expressway, passing through Mile 2, Itire, and Ijesha. When the team got to Surulere at about 2 a.m., another group was seen assembled at the Ayilara area. Right here at Ibidun Street in Surulere area of Lagos, the police got here and saw a group of boys, with the bonfire already lit here, and they had to stop to educate them on the need for them to stop this, especially the negative effect it has on the health of those living in this area. While interacting with them, the police reeled out the command's emergency numbers, which the boys eagerly saved on their phones.
122-122-85.
Ladies weren't left out, as they were also interested in protecting their area. The boys here were particular about social distancing.
We should give ourselves like 5 meters or 10 years. So that because of the corona disease.
There's no rub around here at all. Because we have news that about 1 million boys, 1 Yabo boys, not even know. But you have to be vigilant before they even come to, because most of us has family around here.
Since it was going to be a long night, on this other side, they would rather watch the night accompanied by some good vibes. Ivy, Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
Now, more than 30 persons have been arrested and subsequently charged to court in Ekiti State for contravening the lockdown order of the government. The latest case in the state, which has led to 43 persons being placed on self-isolation, has led to aggressive policing and ensuring that residents comply with the directive. Barricades, roadblocks, artificial fences, these are the common features around Ekiti these days. No thanks to the latest coronavirus case in which the state, which seems to have awakened the consciousness of all stakeholders, and especially security operatives manning border towns. The state governor had earlier spoken tough on the obvious negligence of security officers who had resorted to collecting bribes, thus giving unrestricted access to commuters. Now, the situation is different. At all border towns visited, there are uniformed men who are enforcing the lockdown and ensuring that unnecessary movements are curtailed. Essential workers cannot even move, really, without answering necessary questions. The aggressive effort by the state government to enforce the lockdown led to the arrest of some people who were apprehended at different parts of the state. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice says some of those who were arrested are those on essential services who abused the privilege of exemption to ferry people into the state from Lagos. As the Borno state government imposes a 14-day total lockdown in the state to contain the spread of the coronavirus in the state, residents are taking the news with mixed feelings. The death of the index case of coronavirus in Maiduguri has thrown residents into panic. The Borno state government, on its part, has immediately moved to institute measures to best contain the spread of the virus. It has ordered a 14-day total lockdown of the state. It has taken into cognizance the thousands of IDPs taking refuge in different parts of the state in taking the decision, considering that the index case was a health worker in a humanitarian organization. Residents agree that the lockdown is the best way to arrest the spread of the virus. Others say the lockdown will take its toll on people in the state, considering the number of poor people, especially IDPs. For now, the state has recorded 3 cases of the virus, 1 death and 2 active cases. The total lockdown kicks off on Wednesday by 10:30 p.m. and residents appeal to the state government to provide palliative measures to cushion the hardship they will experience during this period. The COVID-19 pandemic could almost double the number of people suffering acute hunger, pushing it to more than 250 million by the end of 2020. Now, this is according to the United Nations World Food Program, as the agency and other partners released a new report on food crises around the world. In this context, WFP said it was vital that food assistance program be maintained, including its own programs, which offer a lifeline to almost 100 million vulnerable people globally. According to the Global Report on Food Crises, the majority of people suffering acute food insecurity in 2019 were in 10 countries affected by conflicts, climate change, and economic crisis. They include Yemen, Democratic Republic of Congo, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, and Nigeria. The situation in South Sudan is particularly worrisome. Well, that's it on the news update for this hour. We're going to take a quick break and return with looks like the rains have delayed the papers this morning, but we do have a few of the headlines online right now, and I'm just going to take a few that we can find. Starting with the Punch, we have a few headlines. Okay, first let's take one from the Cable Online. It's an online newspaper. It says, Edo Speaker, local herbs contributed to my recovery from COVID-19. So fully recovered Edo Speaker there, and that's good. And then Sahara Reporters has the headline, just in, Nigeria records 117 new coronavirus cases. Toll rises to 782. Wow. And we have a few more stories. Daily Post Nigeria says coronavirus, federal government blocks 5 governors from flying out of Nigeria. And The Guardian is reporting this morning, former Nigeria's Attorney General Richard Akinjide dies at 88. That's a ripe old age there. And another story from the Cable there, Buhari loses another close aide. You can get online to find that story. And The Punch is reporting also, COVID-19, Kano surge worries federal government. Ganduje begs for help. This story just came in about 3 hours ago from The Punch, and it's right there. You can read more about it. The Vanguard, Lagos discharges 9 more COVID-19 patients. So amid everything that's happening, we still have a bit of good news there. 9 more discharged yesterday. And Daily Trust, the Daily Trust newspaper this morning reporting, breaking, Kano records 23 new COVID-19 cases. Total now 59. And now this, it's becoming very worrisome, the situation over in Kano, and hopefully federal government intervention over there would be welcome. And The Nation also has a few stories here. COVID-19, Buhari approves immediate payment of university lecturers withheld salaries. Now this is The Nation this morning. And also, a Boko Haram leader, this is from This Day newspapers, Boko Haram leader Shekau ready to surrender, says military. And also more stories. Federal government postpones WAEC, NECO indefinitely. That's from the cover of The Punch this morning. So the WAEC exams and NECO exams as well have been postponed indefinitely. Hopefully, the kids will still be able to write them this year. But for now, they are postponed indefinitely until we can get over this COVID-19 pandemic. Now let's go back to the Vanguard. A medical doctor tests positive for COVID-19 in Ekiti. Now there's also growing concerns in Ekiti as well this morning. And that particular state is now on a total lockdown. That's in Ekiti State. And also, we still have The Nation this morning with another headline. We distributed 279 trucks of grains to Lagos, the FCT, and Ogun states. That's in The Nation this morning, and the federal government is saying that. So 279 trucks distributed, trucks of grains distributed by the federal government. And then the Vanguard talks about Governor Makinde announcing some new appointments. So you can take a look at that once that paper comes in. And Daily Trust, we're going back to Daily Trust. Borno State confirms COVID-19 cases, now 4. Wow. And The Punch, IG probes Abia killing, redeploys police commissioner. Wow. And then The Nation as well, Buhari will make tough decisions next week on COVID-19. So we still have some tough decisions coming. And Willie Anumudu, Globe Motors chairman, is dead. That's a story that you would find in This Day this morning. And Vanguard is also reporting on exams by young people. It says 2020 UTME JAM names 195 candidates allegedly caught cheating. That's in the Vanguard this morning. And The Punch is reporting Sokoto begins contact tracing as NMA chairman tests positive. Wow. And so that's all the way in Sokoto this morning. And then also the Vanguard also again reporting COVID-19 dead aid worker in Borno had no travel history. So it's a big wonder how that aid worker was able to get it and then spread it in the state. And finally, on the cover of The Punch this morning, COVID-19 insurers set to pay 3 million naira on deceased doctor. Well, that's it on the newspaper headlines this morning. In the second hour, hopefully, the papers would have arrived. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more.
The big argument people always have with me is it really true that somebody can be happy in this life? I just find that a very funny question. But then I remember that I've spent the past few years reading a lot of research about happiness, and so I know for sure that the research says that happiness is a scalar variable. It can be isolated, it can be measured. I have seen the results of scans of the brain that show that meditation and affirmation and gratitude journaling leads the pleasure centers in your brain to light up. There has been research done, by professionals across board that show the release of dopamine and serotonin and all these other chemical transmitters in your brain that help you be happier. There is Matthew Ricard, who is a Buddhist monk and a researcher in happiness. I think he lives in France, who has been called the happiest man in the world because of how long he spends in meditation. Of course, it is possible to be happy every day. Of course. And nobody is saying that you have to make that your goal. If that's not your goal, if you want to live life unhappy, miserable, and sad, it's your choice, your life. But to deny that there are people in this life who are happy every day, not every minute, but when they finish their day, each day, they can look back and say, man, that was a badass day. That was a fun day. And if you can calculate how many days they've had in a year, you find out that more than 80% of the time, they've had a great day, full of delight and laughter and surprise and resilience and giving and compassion. Yes, stop fooling yourself. It is possible to live a happy life. People are living it every day. Scientists are measuring it. Researchers are documenting it. Teachers are teaching it. Parents are exhibiting it.
Talking about happiness.
Yeah.
And how, people always say, oh, happiness is a state of mind, you can change your mind. But, like we were saying earlier on, this period is a time when if you get a bit too introspective or you're a bit too isolated socially, that it becomes a little bit tough for you to be able to manage emotions and stuff like that.
True.
In fact, on Monday, Titi and I were talking about the fact that WHO wants to change social distancing, the term social distancing, change it to physical distancing. Because social then means that, okay, you can't even socialize with people online, so that to reduce that negative connotation of it, so that people don't feel isolated, because that is one of the things that you can then have another epidemic of people getting depressed and all of that later on.
Later on, yes.
Yeah, so they want to try and avoid that. So they're trying to change. Hopefully, maybe they will be able to eventually. And
I think that's very important, because I remember on Saturday, I think that was like the first time I and my neighbor had a conversation, and it felt like I had been released from a prison. Guess what? This conversation was, I was cooking in the kitchen, and then he was cleaning his car. Like, there was a lot of space, but I just felt so happy to talk to someone. Someone that is not other than you guys I see every other time. Yeah. So I can imagine how a lot of people are having difficult times coping, because probably all you have is your phone and your computer and your TV. So you're just limited to what you're seeing on the internet. And it can be hard to actually sieve through the information, because some people just send you broadcasts of different things and you're just like, ooh, I was not ready for that.
This is a bit too much.
It's a bit too much, yes.
That's very true. Now, this, I think, was it yesterday or I think today. Do you remember Da Green?
Yeah,
the rapper.
Yeah.
The late rapper Da Green. So it's 10 years this month that he died in a car accident. You remember from way back. But, people credit him a lot with ushering in the Yoruba genre of hip-hop and rap, and he was like the progenitor to Olamide, Reminisce, and a bunch of guys and everything. So lots of people celebrating him online right now. I'm seeing some pictures of him, just different things, murals and stuff that people developed over the years. I remember there was a special song that was done for him by various artists, if you remember.
Yes, I remember.
It was a very nice song. And they try to weave some of his songs together into it, and it was just very, quite emotional as well for many people, because it was very sudden, and he was a rising star.
Yeah, he was a rising. I mean, I was in secondary school then. I remember hearing, I think it was after his death that I did hear a lot of his songs, and then they were like, oh, talk about that person has died.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. So I mean, he was rising star who just got cut. Who just got cut off at his prime, but he was a solid guy. Yeah. And so we wish his family all the best.
Yes,
and
we do.
Strength at this time. So one of the things, just a few updates regarding the COVID-19. So lots of people are recovering, which is very good. Even people who are not showing too many symptoms, many people are beginning to recover, come out of the hospitals. So we have different people who are talking about their own stories even online. So this is how I survived, this is what I did, or this is what it did for me. So I think we should play up a lot of those survival stories as well.
Yes, to make people see things on a brighter side.
Yeah.
Because I think there are a lot of dampening news that we don't even get to see the news that will actually make us feel better. And I saw this funny meme on Instagram where someone said many of us have gone through COVID-19 without even knowing that we had it because they didn't get tested, and they're like, just shout out to you that treated it at home.
At home, yeah, that's, I mean, very true.
Because
in
a lot of
fact,
asymptomatic people didn't know, and then they were just staying at home.
Yeah, then a number of countries, they said because of the pressure on the health system, if you feel like you have it, but you don't feel too sick, stay at home and let it pass instead of relating with people or trying to get to the hospital and all of that. Just stay home, stay isolated for the period. If you don't feel too sick, maybe you just have a cough and it's not so bad, you can still breathe well and you don't have a headache or fever, just allow it to balance out. So they encourage people to do that so as not to mix with the crowd or go to the hospital that is already very full and jam-packed and all of that. So just those little things. But yeah, so yesterday, 9 people were discharged in Lagos.
Oh, great.
So they've been tested twice.
Oh, great.
They've done the full 14 days. They've, so they're fine, they're good, and they can now rejoin their family. So that's a good one. I think we should give a round of applause for that. Very nice. So hopefully we'll be hearing more and more stories.
Amen.
Initially it was just one person has been discharged. Yes. 2 people have been discharged.
Nine is
but now
impressive.
the numbers are growing of people being discharged, people getting better, getting well, and hopefully as we come to the end of the second 2 weeks, it will fully be lifted if we don't have any major cases.
Yeah, I really hope so, to be honest. Like, to just go back to normal. See, I miss seeing people on the road. I miss traffic. I want traffic.
Tope actually misses traffic.
I miss traffic, yes. I want to do traffic reports. I want to say to take it 2 hours to get to point B from point A. I want to see humans, like a lot on the road.
So it's one of the things that I know lots of people look forward to is having us talk to them on a daily basis. Because you turn on your TV and you just expect that there's going to be somebody there talking to you. You don't know how the person got there. You don't know what they went through to get to work.
Here,
But so it's one of those things that I think is a privilege for people like us, talking to people out there and everything. So it's good to encourage them and let them know that we're here for you. And if you do need to talk, send us a message.
Send Pastor Yomi. He will counsel
I'm not
you.
pastoring you. I'm not going to be opening scriptures.
Okay, he's just going to listen to you and allow you to share how you feel. Would you send them money if they need money?
Not likely. Not likely.
Oh, wow. People don't want to talk anymore.
Nowadays, you just put up a post, account numbers.
Account numbers. I was on someone's Instagram live and then someone just said, Oga, beg, when can we post account number? As in, all this your talk, when should we post account number?
All the celebrities now, once you put up a post, mama, do give away now.
Give away.
So some, of course, do it jokingly, but some actually have...
mean it.
Yeah, some actually have pressing needs during this period. And so as much as possible, try to help if you can. But if you can't, for instance, there are 1 or 2 celebrities that we had an interview with and they said they helped the family members, extended family members. That's a very good thing.
That's very important.
She said she wasn't going to help random people online if people around her are suffering. So I thought that was very thoughtful.
I think that's very important because a lot of celebrities, maybe not a lot, but some celebrities are more interested in the giving out on social media and not forget, but feel like, if I give my family members, nobody will know I've given. Let me give online. And then you see
grow my followers.
And grow my followers. And then you just bump into someone having a conversation. Next thing you're hearing, I'm the cousin or I'm the stepsister and I don't have 1K. But hello, your cousin is giving 200K.
Exactly.
Did you get?
Exactly. So there's one of my cousins, I haven't spoken to him in years, probably 5 years.
Okay.
And he reached out to me from Akure.
Oh.
And he just said, whatever you can do will be nice. I thought, it's touching. I mean, it's my cousin. And I didn't even know he was, had a little bit of a struggle, just a small, we just said whatever you have. So it wasn't like he was asking me to pay his rent, So whatever you have sometimes can go a long way. Giving 500 naira to a security guy, for instance, can...
Yes, giving noodles, safe. Just give them.
So all those little helps.
Yes.
It just helps. It's like a community. Then everybody can eat. It's like when we were in school. When you can't really go hungry if you have friends in school.
Yes, you can't.
Right. So you can go through a whole month without 1 naira. Because you just say, oh, okay, let me eat breakfast here.
Yeah.
Let me eat lunch here.
In fact, sometimes when we used to stay together, we would run like you cook, I cook. You cook.
Exactly.
So we know that today is your turn, so it's your food we're eating.
Yeah. I mean, it's always very exciting. I had this friend who was a crazy guy. We used to call him Lobe.
Okay.
And the reason they called him Lobe was that he knows how to mix things.
So
he'll come to your room.
Food.
Exactly, concoction food. So he comes to your room and there's only rice, for instance, and maybe okra. Or some crazy.
No, not rice and
So he would just look as, Jeka Lobe. So he would say, Jeka Lobe.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just use it like that. So that's what we started calling him.
Lobe.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my days.
Anyway, so we're going to be taking a break now. But yeah, if there's somebody around you that needs a little bit of help, even 500 naira is important nowadays.
Exactly. Nothing is too small. You just need to understand that. Nothing is too small at this point.
Yeah.
We will take a break, and when we return, Wake Up Nigeria continues.
All right.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the first hour of the show. We have another hour, 45 minutes to go, filled with premium family entertainment.
Yeah, great stuff ahead on this half of the show. It's going to be very nice. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, now there's so much to look forward to, and you can always be a part of the show. Now, all you have to do is use the hashtag #WakeUpNigeria. Let us know what you've been up to. Also tell us what your pet names or your nicknames were when you were in school.
We're going to take that probably later on as well on the show. So send it to us, though. Now, you can find advantage even in the most difficult situations. So look inwards and find that fighter in you. I like that. Yeah. Awaken the giant in you.
Amen.
Be provoked towards your purpose.
Tell them.
Thank you for joining us in the second hour of the show. Now this is the #1 breakfast television on TV. It's Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Yomi Owope.
And I am Tope Olowoniyan. Now
AKA Tresh.
Oh no, you didn't do that. You all don't know where it's coming from.
Tresh Babe. That's her nickname, university nickname.
For whatever reason they gave me Tresh Babe, let's let it fly. Now you can stream with us live at tvcentertainment.tv and on Facebook at TVC Connect.
I will also have an amazing app for you for download both on the Android and iOS stores. It allows you to watch us from anywhere in the world. Very nice. We're looking forward to all the stuff that's going to be happening for the rest of the show.
You should also tell us your own nickname.
Now,
you embarrassed me publicly.
But you're Tresh now, Lady Tresh.
What's your own?
Lady Tresh.
Oh my days.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about nicknames. I had a couple.
Yours?
So initially they used to call me Ice because I was cool like Ice.
Oh my days. You just had to make it about you.
Yes, now that's what they call me.
Are you sure it's Ice?
They called me Ice, yeah. At some point.
If you're in Yomi's class, please use the hashtag #WakeUpNigeria TV and tell us the truth. What were
you called in school? I talked about a friend of mine that was called Lobe. Because he knows how to mix anything when it comes to food. So yeah, so let's talk about that. What's your nickname? What was your nickname when you were in the university? Yeah. Anyway, straight to
college. And yesterday, people complained that we're talking about university. So those that went to colleges, polytechnics, also send us your nicknames.
Yes, indeed. Now, interior designer and creative director of the exclusive lifestyle interiors, Tunde Shanu, is going to be joining us this morning to talk about 6 important things to consider when styling your interior.
Seyi Olushore of the famed Fastest Cheddar, a fitness brand and Nigeria's first weight loss reality TV show, would be joining us for a chat as well.
And it's important to keep smiles on the faces of everyone And we're on a lighter note, we're going to be taking you online to show you a few videos that we discovered for you, just to make you laugh.
Wellness is a key factor in life, and Dr. Ijewere joins us to share about the importance of well-being.
Yes, indeed. And relationship expert Theo Akatuba is going to be joining us via Skype this morning on the 7 love languages of couples during the stay at home. And it's a continuation from last week.
What were 5?
Well, he said 7.
Okay. Award-winning filmmaker Umanu Ojochenemi Elijah is an ace filmmaker who is vast in cinematography, editing, and movie directing. Now, he recently shot a short film about COVID-19. We will be talking about that.
Because I want us to sit and talk about our marriage.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
I know that more recently people have been, going to bed really late.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you're not going anywhere in the morning, so you probably sleep at 1 or 2 a.m. So lots of people waking up like 7 or 8 o'clock.
Some people wake up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you just wake up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep anymore and all of that. So
you're just there in limbo. Sleep now. COVID will so end.
Yes, indeed. This is the time to sleep and rest. But as it's coming to an end, you also need to start adjusting yourself mentally, going back to work and all of that. So it can be pretty tough. Anyway, so we're talking about nicknames.
Yes.
So once again, whatever nickname you had while you were in school, whatever school you were in, whether it was a college or a polytechnic, university, even secondary school, secondary schools,
yes,
it can be pretty harsh. When it comes to nicknames, they can be pretty harsh. Okay, so in secondary school, there's something they called me Inspector Gadget.
Okay.
Because I always had something.
They called you Inspector Gadget?
They called me Inspector Gadget,
okay.
yeah. So if there's anything you need, I had it in my bag.
Are you serious?
So beyond pencils, erasers, or sharpeners or anything,
yeah,
like I just had random things like sellotape.
Wow.
You could just, ask me for
serious?
anything. Yeah.
No, secondary school.
So once you're looking for something, ask Yomi.
Inspector Gadget.
So they called me Inspector Gadget. So yeah, so what's your name?
You have too many. Your names are too cool, I beg. Like, you have something that will laugh at you. Like,
no, I didn't have any. I didn't have any terrible names. Like, I know that there are
terrible.
But what's terrible about Tresh? Lady Tresh.
You are enjoying this thing.
No, but that's your name now.
No, it's not my name. My name is Tope.
I'm going to go and look for a Lady Tresh on.
You would never see it. What you would see
Instagram.
Was I used to want to be an architect, so I now gave myself Archtops.
Oh my goodness.
Archtops.
Why? I don't understand.
I wanted, how engineers have engineer, medical doctors have doctor, but then I wanted to be an architect, so I'm like Archtops. But before I embarrass my whole generation, please, Ibrahim, take us
Architect Tope is right here with us. We'd love to see it, but Ibrahim is on standby.
Yes, please, Ibrahim, take us away.
Welcome to the news. More than 30 persons have been arrested and subsequently charged to court in Ekiti State for contravening the lockdown order of the government. The latest case in the state, which has led to 43 persons being placed on self-isolation, has led to aggressive policing and ensuring that residents comply with the directive. Barricades, roadblocks, artificial fences, these are the common features around Ekiti these days. No thanks to the latest coronavirus case in the state, which seems to have awakened the consciousness of all stakeholders in the state, and especially security operatives manning border towns. The state governor had earlier spoken tough on the obvious negligence of security officers who had resorted to collecting bribes, thus giving unrestricted access to commuters. Now the situation is different. At all border towns visited, there are uniformed men who are enforcing the lockdown and ensuring that unnecessary movements are curtailed. Essential workers cannot even move freely without answering necessary questions. The aggressive efforts by the state government to enforce the lockdown led to the arrest of some people who were apprehended at different parts of the state. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice says some of those who were arrested at those on essential services who abuse the privilege of exemption to ferry people into the state from Lagos. As the Borno state government imposes a 14-day total lockdown in the state to contain the spread of the coronavirus, residents are taking the news with mixed feelings. The death of the index case of the coronavirus in Maiduguri has thrown residents into a panic. The Borno state government, on its part, has immediately moved to institute measures to best contain the spread of the virus. It has ordered a 14-day total lockdown of the state. It has taken into cognizance the thousands of IDPs taking refuge in different parts of the state and taking its decision considering that the index case was a health worker in a humanitarian organization. Residents agree that the lockdown is the best way to arrest the spread of the virus. Others say the lockdown will take its toll on people in states considering the number of poor people, especially the IDPs. For now, the state has recorded 3 cases of the virus, 1 death and 2 active cases. The total lockdown kicks off on Wednesday today by 10:30 p.m. and residents appeal to the state government to provide palliative measures to cushion the hardship they will experience during the period. The Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, has condemned the unprofessional conduct and misuse of firearms by the police or by a police at Ebem Ohafia, Abia State, which led to the death of Mr. Ifeanyi Aronsi. A release signed by the Force Public Relations Frank Mba confirmed that the IGP has set up a special investigation panel to carry out investigation into the incident. The panel will also review police actions and inactions prior, during and after the death of Mr. Ifeanyi Aronsi and the circumstances surrounding the attack on the police station and damage to property. The IGP has also ordered the immediate deployment of CP Janet Agbede as the new Commissioner of Police, Abia State. She takes over from CP Okon Ene, who has been redeployed to the force headquarters in Abuja. And the COVID-19 pandemic could almost double the number of people suffering acute hunger, pushing it to more than 250 million by the end of 2020. This according to the United Nations World Food Programme, as the agency and other partners release a new report on food crisis around the world. In this context, WFP said it was vital that food assistance program be maintained, including its own programs which offer a lifeline to almost 100 million vulnerable people globally. According to the Global Report on Food Crisis, the majority of people suffering acute food insecurity in 2019 were in 10 countries affected by conflict, climate change and economic crisis. They include Yemen, DR Congo, Afghanistan, Ethiopia and Nigeria. The situation in South Sudan is particularly worrisome. And that's the news update for this hour. Stay tuned.
Back. Now, this is a stay-at-home period. It's called compulsory stay-at-home order. And for that reason, you might want to think of 1 or 2 things you want to do in your house. And interior designer and creative director of the exclusive Interiors, Tunde Shanu, is going to be talking to us about 6 important things to consider when styling your interior. And he's joining us by phone right now because I'm not sure that Skype was connecting as we intended. Hi, Tunde.
Yeah, good morning.
How's it going?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that since you're a designer, you probably have a really nice ambience in your home that's helping you get through this lockdown period.
Yeah, definitely I do.
All right, so we're looking at 6 things to consider when styling your interior. That's the interior of your house. Yeah. So, of course, this is Nigeria, and one of the things that we have some peculiarities with our own homes. One of the big peculiarities is that you don't have big windows because of security. So you have all these bars and stuff like that in your house that sort of it doesn't make the house look too great. But talk to us about the things that we should consider this morning regarding our interiors.
Okay, good morning, viewers. A good interior design is just not about your aesthetics alone. You have to take into consideration all the design elements and bring them together to bring about a lovely design. So basically the 6 design elements that we're going to be looking at is emphasis, contrast, rhythm, balance, scale and proportion, then harmony.
So first, you talked about emphasis. I like that. Are there particular areas that require emphasis within your home or within the interior? Talk to us about emphasis.
Okay, like your feature wall. Let's say your living room space. Your feature wall needs to have emphasis because that's basically the focal point in the room space. So you need to put emphasis on it, like putting a bold color on the wall or bold items on that wall, or like your media stand, and or using wallpaper to emphasize the wall, basically. So, or your sofa too, your sofa set, you can put emphasis on the pillows on top of the chairs. You just make it vibrant. So you can use one uniform color for the chair, then use like multiple textures for your throw pillows on top of it, thereby laying emphasis on the chair.
There are people who say that, how about for people who prefer like minimalist designs? They don't really want to emphasize anything. They want to keep things very light. Should these kinds of people also consider emphasis as well? Yeah,
for every design element, you need to emphasize something. Even if you're being minimal. Let's take, for example, you're using like white for your entire wall. So on your feature wall, you must have something that contrasts that white. So whatever contrasts it brings a bit of emphasis into the space.
Yeah.
Most likely your television screen will be like black frame, most likely. Will have black in it, and basically all those black touches is like emphasis in itself.
Yeah.
And it's minimal.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to us about the second thing.
Yeah, so we'll be looking at contrast too. For contrast, we say opposite attract. So saying that we're looking at using a light color against a dark color, or a patterned fabric against a plain fabric, or a textured wall against a plain wall. So basically that's where contrast comes into your interior designing. So let's say in your living room, you have like a plain wall. Then at a point, you now have like a textured wall. The textured wall actually brings out the plain wall because of the contrast between the two. So basically that's where contrast comes into play. So you need to think about these things: emphasis, contrast. Then we come to the third one, rhythm. There has to be a rhythm in your space, in the designing of your space. By rhythm, we mean there has to be like a flow of design. For example, let's say on your sofa, on your chair, you have like throw pillows on it. So let's say you have like a red, you have like a cream, you have like a yellow. It needs to continue. Let's say you have like nine throw pillows. So basically you have two of each one. So they basically flow together. So you have them at intervals, flowing together, creating a rhythm.
So gives the room a rhythm, is what you mean.
And rhythm can come into play again. Like say you have like a orange throw pillow on your chair. You have a center rug that has a touch of orange. Then you have your feature wall that has like a touch of orange. So let's say like a wallpaper with a touch of orange, something like that. There's a flow of particular type of colors or textures.
All right, so what's the next thing after rhythm?
So we come to balance. The fourth one is balance. You have to balance everything that you set into your space. And there should be a balance, an element of balance. So basically, balance is a distribution of equal design elements in a space. A distance of equal visual proportions. Basically, that's balance.
Right. And then after balance?
So saying that, let me just emphasize balance a bit. Saying that your design should be symmetric. So it's either of the two, symmetric or asymmetric. So symmetric being that you divide your room into two, both sides look like the same. Asymmetric being that if you divide your room into two, they're not exactly the same, but they look alike.
Right, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the next thing after balance?
So we come to proportions. That's scale and proportion. So in scale and proportion, we're going to look at items alongside each other. Saying if you have your sofa, if you have a big sofa, for example, you can't have a small size stool beside it. You need to have a bolder size stool to bring out the large sofa that you have in your space. So basically that's what proportion, scale and proportion basically is talking about. It's talking about the placement of bold items with small items, how they work together. Yeah.
So we have some proportion, we have a little bit of balance. That's also very important.
Yeah.
We have rhythm is
Yeah.
one of the key things that is required just to give your interior space a little bit of character. And then you also said emphasis, which is one of the things that's one of the major things that you require with regards to setting up your interior.
Yeah.
That's how so you've taken five of them now, or is there a last one?
Yeah, there's the last one. The last one is harmony. Basically saying that with all these things we've talked about, there should be harmony. Everything, they should have a flow. They must be cohesive, basically. So harmony basically is the last one. Whatever you have in your space, every element that you put in your space must work together. They must not be in sharp contrast to one another. Basically, there should be a flow. So basically, harmony is the last interior design concept that we're talking about.
All right. So, and
Yeah.
these design concepts that you've talked about now, are they applicable whether the interior is large or small, or are there specific recommendations you would make if you have a large space as opposed to if you had, or if you have a small space as opposed to if you have a large space?
Yeah, these elements basically work for every type of space. Before you start your interior designing, you need to sit down and think about these elements. Write them down and use them to determine your designing of your space. So they are all very important. Whether your space is small or it's big, they are all very important. You need to bring them into play.
Thank you so much, Tunde Shanu, for taking us through those 6 things to consider when you're styling your interior. Very important, so that you can have, a good balance within your home,
space, yeah.
great rhythm as well, so that you can be relaxed every time you're at home, especially during this period. So if you're redecorating your home this period, these are some of the styling things to consider. Thank you so much, Tunde, for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, we're going to be taking a quick break and be back after this.
Well, welcome right back. We have Seyi Olushore. Now, he is the MD of Shidam's Fitness and a fellow of the Institute of Registered Exercise Professionals. He is an author of 2 books, I Am and What Time Is It? And also behind Fastest Shedder Nigeria. Now, it's the first weight loss reality TV in Nigeria. Hi, Seyi. Good morning.
Hello, Tope. Good morning. How are you?
How you doing? I'm fine, thank you. How are you holding up this period?
Yeah, I'm well. I'm trying my best to stay fit and ensure that I abide by the lockdown rules,
You're speaking about abiding by the rules. We remember you started the Fastest Shedder reality show for this year. How did that pan out considering the COVID-19 crisis?
So because it was more of a lockdown inside a lockdown. So
Yes.
I had all the contestants in an isolated area first. Then the lockdown came in, so we had to talk to all cast and crew that, you have to start washing your hands before and after workout sessions with soap and water regularly. Then we had to get hand sanitizers. Then we also had to get gloves. We had to get masks. So for both cast and the shedders and the crew, we had to enforce that, anyone that leaves camp right now don't even bother coming.
Back.
So it's safe to say that we did abide by the rules till the 90 of the show.
90. So how was the process entirely, considering that this is the first reality weight loss program show in Nigeria? How has the journey been for you?
Yeah, well, it's been challenging, it's in terms of finances and sponsorship, because of the fact that, it's something new, and, awareness on fitness and weight loss in Nigeria is still on the low side, but compared to what it was in the last decade, there's a bit of improvement. So having to put all 10 ladies in the house, it's one tough nut to crack. But, when there's a will, there's a way. So it was kind of challenging, but you know what? If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Yeah. So we ended up having the most amazing results so far. At least this is the third season. So this season we actually had the highest weight loss.
Oh, wow.
Someone did lose 31.6 kilograms in 90 days. We had someone lose 31.6. Yeah. We had someone lose 30.6. Also, we have people, coming down to dress size 12, people who have been on dress size 18, 20. So on all of this, it was rigorous workouts and strict diet regimen. So it's worth it. It's worth the challenge anyways.
That's really impressive, 31 kg. That must have been life-changing. But I want to know now, what inspired you to actually start this reality show? Was there a family member that had health challenges, or have you always just been a fitness enthusiast?
Okay, to start with, none of my family had any health challenge. I've never been on the big side, But it's just the fact that, right from my university days, as far back as 2003, 2004. I've always had persons on the big side. I see the struggles they go through in terms of self-confidence. They're not. I see struggles these persons go through. Take for example, now you want to enter into a bus, and they tell you, all right, boy, you got to pay for two because, me my time no go spoil, that kind of thing. So, and also if a bike man or car that wants to, pick one of them, the person just say, what, I know if you carry you, I never make any money today, make I no go, crash my, all these things,
Yeah.
Then when you want to go into a boutique with your friends and you realize that everybody's getting their sizes and you can't get their size. So these are real life, everyday challenges. For plus size women. Then the health aspect also. Imagine a woman who has been suffering from high blood pressure, that's hypertension, and you go up the stairs and you're already panting, you're breathing hard.
Yeah.
All these things, contributed to what made me, there are quite a number of conventional reality TV show, but I just wanted to do something life-changing, something worth it, something that will be real, and persons will look back and say, if not for Bastard Shudder, I do not know where I would have been right now. Then also, one of these plus-size ladies actually confided and said, you know what, I go to school to pick up my son. My son is already crying. He doesn't come out on time, and that's because his colleagues are making fun of him that, oh, your mom is so fat, and so things like this get to me.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, it's better to just address this obesity issue in Nigeria. It's real in Nigeria. About 2/3 of the adults in Nigeria are suffering from plus-size body shaming, obesity syndrome.
Yeah, that's true. That's really inspiring that you took this up just because you wanted to help people. Now, before I let you go, I'd like to know that how do your contestants post the events, now post the time that they spend at the house? How do you monitor their lifestyle, or do you just let them go to continue their life however it is it pans out?
All right, so because I always make sure I tell them that, okay, fine, it's a 90-day reality TV show. It's a 90-day game. The game ends on day 90, but the competition starts with just you right after day 90. So it's like at some point they get back to me. At some point I try to, check up on them. How's it going? I know it's not going to be an easy feat. I know it's not something that it's going to be easy because, while they were in the house, it was a controlled environment. So by the time they go out, reality sets in, when you go to Owope, when you have family members come around. It's like discipline. So I've always told them that, you actually do not need self-validation from anybody. You are in a competition with just you.
Yourself.
So I do my best to check up on them, and I don't want to put pressure on them. So they know where they are coming from. They know where they're going. They've seen the benefits. So it's up to them to be able to, stay accountable and committed. It's a partnership. You can't cheat yourself.
I have to cut you there, Shay, but thank you so much. All the best with the future episodes or future editions of Fastest Shedder.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, there's a lot going on with COVID-19, but guess...
Welcome back. It is the third lap of the show, the final block. And of course, it's not been a bad experience this Wednesday.
Yeah, so there's a lesson to be learned in every situation, as great things never come from a comfort zone. Remember, if you don't have to be out, please stay indoors and observe the highest level of personal hygiene.
Yeah, I like all those motivational nuggets you're giving us. Great things don't come from comfort zones. Anyway, we still have so much in store for you on the show today. My name is Yomi, Owope.
And I am Tope Olowoniyan. Now, you have two options. Stay right here with us or get online and stream live at tvcentertainment.tv and on Facebook at TVC Connect.
Yeah. Also, you can also send in your comments. We have loads of comments this morning. I don't know if you've seen them. Lots of people talking to us about their nicknames while they were in school. So very nice. Use the hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC.
Now, if you haven't downloaded our app, what are you waiting for? It's available on Android and iOS stores, and it allows you to watch us from anywhere in the world.
All right, so check this out. Relationship expert Theo Akatuba is going to be joining us via Skype to talk about the 7 love languages couples can use during this stay at home. It's a continuation from last week.
Also, we have award-winning filmmaker Umanu Ojochenemi Elijah. He's an ace filmmaker who's vast in cinematography, editing, and movie directing. And he recently shot a short film about COVID-19. We're going to be talking to him today.
Nice. I'm curious to know how he got his cameras out there during this lockdown.
I'm sure it must have been earlier.
So probably before.
Before it got intense in Nigeria.
Yeah, before the full lockdown. But a few countries have started reopening. Still on that good news note.
Yes.
A few countries are beginning to reopen because some of them have peaked. A number of countries don't have that many cases, and there's some balance and good control over the cases they already have. So places like Norway, kids are back in school. And they're trying to they're being cautious about the so it's a gradual getting back to normal life in Europe, in Asia, and a number of other countries like that. So
but I think everybody will definitely adopt this system of washing hands even after COVID-19 is gone, just so nothing funny happens. Just keep washing your hands. I think by now it should already become like a way of life.
Yeah, for washing of hands. I mean, first it started from the Ebola outbreak that happened a few years ago, but now I'm sure it's going to become everybody's culture. So gradually, we're going to get back to normal life. It's just a few more days, a few more weeks for some other countries, depending on what country
Or we just wake up one day and God just takes it all away.
Yeah. I mean, it can happen.
Exactly.
It can happen. A number of countries are saying, some are saying May 3rd to lift their lockdown, some May 7th, some all the way to the end of May to lift the lockdown. So depending on what country
works for your country.
So, but it's good because everybody's expectant that things are going to change gradually.
Gradually, Oh, well, in the light of gradual change, let's have Ibrahim take us away with the news.
All right, thank you very much, Tope. And now let's bring you the update on the coronavirus cases in Nigeria. Nigeria has recorded 117 new cases of the coronavirus, the highest single-day figure since the outbreak of the virus in the country. This now brings the total number of cases to 782. 197 patients have been discharged, while the country has recorded 25 deaths. Of the 117 new cases, 59 are in Lagos, 29 in Abuja, 14 in Kano, 6 in Borno, 4 in Katsina, 3 in Ogun, and 1 each in Rivers and Bauchi states. And more than 30 persons have been arrested and subsequently charged to court in Ekiti State for contravening the lockdown order of the government. The latest case in the state, which has led to 43 persons being placed on self-isolation, has led to the aggressive policing and ensuring that residents comply with the directive. Barricades, roadblocks, artificial fences, these are the common features around Ekiti these days. No thanks to the latest coronavirus case in the state, which seems to have awakened the consciousness of all stakeholders in the state and especially security operatives manning border towns. The state governor had earlier spoken tough on the obvious negligence of security officers who had resorted to collecting bribes, thus giving unrestricted access to commuters. The aggressive effort by the state government to enforce the lockdown led to the arrest of some people who were apprehended at different parts of the state. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice says some of those who were arrested are those on essential services who abused the privilege of exemption to ferry people into the state from Lagos. As the Borno State government imposes a 14-day total lockdown in the state to contain the spread of the coronavirus, residents are taking the news with mixed feelings. The death of the index case of coronavirus in Maiduguri has thrown residents into a panic. The Borno State government, on its part, has immediately moved to institute measures to best contain the spread of the virus. It has also ordered a 14-day total lockdown of the state. It takes cognizance the thousands of IDPs taking refuge in different parts of the state and taking its decision, considering that the index case was a health worker in a humanitarian organization. Residents agree that the lockdown is the best way to arrest the spread of the virus. Others say the lockdown will take its toll on people in the state, considering the number of poor people, especially the IDPs. For now, the state has recorded 3 cases of the virus, 1 death and 2 active cases. The Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, has condemned the unprofessional conduct and misuse of firearms by a policeman at Ebem Ohafia, Abia State, which led to the death of Mr. Ifeanyi Arunsi. Release signed by the Force Public Relations Frank Mba confirmed that the IGP has set up a special investigation panel to carry out investigation into the incident. The panel will also review police actions and inactions prior, during and after the death of Mr. Arunsi and the circumstances surrounding the attack on the police station and damage to property. The IGP has also ordered the immediate deployment of CP Janet Agbede as the new Commissioner of Police, Abia State. She takes over from CP Okon Ene, who has been redeployed to the force headquarters, Abuja. And the COVID-19 pandemic could also double the number of people suffering acute hunger, pushing it to more than 250 million by the end of 2020. This according to the United Nations World Food Programme, as the agency and other partners released a new report on food crisis around the world. In this context, WFP said it was vital that food assistance programs be maintained, including its own programs which offer a lifeline to almost 100 million vulnerable people globally. According to the Global Report on Food Crisis, the majority of people suffering acute food insecurity in 2019 were in 10 countries affected by conflict, climate change and economic crisis. They include Yemen, DR Congo, Afghanistan, Ethiopia and Nigeria. The situation in South Sudan is particularly worrisome. And the National Insurance Commission, NECO, has sent a message of condolence to President Muhammad Buhari over the death of Malam Abba Kyari. In a letter signed by the Acting Commissioner for Insurance, Olowoniyan Sunday Thomas, on behalf of the board, management and staff, says, quote, the Commission expresses its sadness on the demise of the Chief of Staff to the President at this critical time in the nation's history. The Commission wishes the President and members of the immediate family of Malam Kyari the fortitude to bear the loss. And that's it on the news for today on Wake Up Nigeria. Is not
Patrick Ijewere, intermittent consultant and your wellness physician. We're talking about sunlight, sun exposure. Folks, it's a lot that the sun does for us, a lot. Let's start with what goes on. Indoors versus outdoors. To my right and my left, you see two potted plants. You can see the difference. The one on my right is the one that has been indoors, longer than it's supposed to be indoors. You can see how it looks. There's passion missing. There's joy, there's excitement missing. It looks dull. The color, the vibrancy is down. Even the level of greenery is down. It looks sad. Whereas one on my left that has been outdoors, you can see the fullness, you can see the greenery, you can see the joy, just the life and the vitality all from it. We are creatures of nature. The same thing happens to us. Just pause for a moment and think. Countries and cultures in the West where sunlight is not 12 months of the year, where sunlight maybe 3 months, 6 months of the year. Once winter is over and spring comes in, what do? They are outdoors, they jump out, they go outside. Yes, they may take off their clothes, but what are they doing? Yes, they're sunbathing, they're sun tanning, call it what you want. There's an innate survival instinct in that outdoor activity. They've had a sun deficit. Their vitamin D stores are low, so they're going out to sunbathe, suntan, call it anything. Bottom line is they are restoring their levels of vitamin D and they're making up for their sun exposure deficit. The same thing is happening to us. Now we're indoor beings, whereas our grandparents and great-grandparents were farmers. They were out in the sun literally all day, most of the day. Our cousins in the Far East, in Asia, in South America, in other countries where there's a large agricultural population, is there an abundance historically documented of skin cancer? Our folks say the sun will cause cancer. Hey. It's a weakened immune system that results in cancer cells thriving and thus the disease showing up. What does sun exposure do? It boosts your immunity. Vitamin D is tied to your immune system. Did you know that? Vitamin D comes from sun exposure. It converts cholesterol on the skin over to vitamin D. That's what the sun does. And so many systems are affected by vitamin D. The biggest one is your calcium phosphate system, which puts calcium in your bones and helps your growth. Your immune system is a huge one. Your cognitive function and memory function is tied to vitamin D. Yes. Even your mood, depression, anxiety, psychiatric problems. When I was training in the US, we were taught in medical school that just look out in the summertime versus the wintertime. In wintertime, there's more admissions to the hospital for depression and psychiatric problems. There's more ER, emergency room visits for psychiatric issues. And we saw it clinically, practically in the hospitals. But when spring comes around, my goodness, there's joy, there's love, there's just radiance in the air. The same thing happens to the plants around us. To us here, even in Africa, same thing is going on. So folks, go outside, get some sun. The books may say the best sunlight is between 9 and 11 or 2 and 4. Don't get the high sun. Frankly, I don't give a hoot. We are so deficient, we are so deficient in vitamin D. The young folks and the old folks, we're doing their levels, and their levels of vitamin D are low, insufficient, troubling. Folks, so just get some sun. Don't care what time of day it is. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if you can do 30 minutes, awesome. We advise folks to put plants indoors to help keep the air fresh. A wide range of plants, the chrysanthemums, the ferns, the snake plants, you name it. And then every week, rotate them outdoors. It's evident someone forgot to rotate this one outdoors, and so you see the sadness of the plant. Now we'll exchange it with the joyous, happy one. Folks, the sun is your friend.
Next up, we have Theophilus Akatugba. Now, he is a Nigerian media practitioner, life coach, and marriage counselor. He will continue the conversation on the 7 love languages couples should explore during the stay-home lockdown. Good morning, Mr. Theophilus. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine. Good morning. And how are you?
I'm fine. You sound very bright. How are you holding up this period?
Well, I have been speaking as much as possible the love languages to keep me in harmony at home.
Oh, okay. So
It is a strategy to survive the lockdown.
I didn't get you.
I said it is a strategy to survive
Very important to have good strategies to survive the lockdown. So we're going to pick up from our conversation last week. Could you just do a quick recap for benefits of people who are just tuning in about the 7 love languages?
Yeah, quickly, there are 5 basic love languages, but I said Tiwa is proposing 7. And the first one is acts of love. Yes. The second one is words of affirmation. Yes. The third one is gift giving. The fourth one is quality time. And the fifth one is physical touch. Yes. And then the sixth one is love from the husband. Okay. The seventh is submission from the wife.
Okay.
The last is the loudest love language for a man.
Submission. So why do you say the last one, submission from the wife, is the loudest love language? What makes it the loudest?
The first, if a wife does not submit to the husband, all other acts of love do not excite him. Okay. He sees you as stalking him and luring him into a cage. Okay. And so he rests. He does not appreciate your gift. He does not appreciate your words of affirmation. He sees them as hypocritical. He does not appreciate your act of kindness. He sees them as trickery. So once you are submissive to him, he hears a loud message that you love him. That's why it is required that women should learn to love their husbands. It is not a command to them.
Okay, now the word submission, I would say a lot of people have not been able to give like a clear and concise definition as regards submission in marriage. Now, as a coach, how best will you explain and define submission for women at home to understand where the man is coming from?
Well, submission means to learn to love your husband by subjecting yourself to him, which means be submissive, and then you adapt. For example, a bank manager who marries a teacher should learn to submit our economy to the teacher economy. The teacher might earn 50,000. The bank manager 250. You run the home with 50,000. That's the economy of the man. It is not based on your income. So when you adapt to him, he finds you making the sacrifice to keep him as the head of the home with dignity. And then to your own husband, as service to God. Your submission to your husband is a service to a higher power. Okay. And with that effort that you respect and reverences your husband. Now, you notice him, you regard him. For example, so women are financially strong before they got married, and they have been taking decisions before the man came into their life. Yes. You have to change ensuring that you confer with your husband before these decisions. Otherwise, if you keep taking them, you will find no place in the marriage. Okay. Honor him, prefer him above every other thing. You venerate him and esteem him and defer to him, praise him, admire him exceedingly. Can you imagine this? So wow. If you don't do this to a man, he will never appreciate anything else you do. He will see you as treating him. Deceiving him into and that resistance surprises a lot of women. They say, but I give him a lot of gifts. I help him financially. I have supported him to school. Yeah. Once you do all, I will rented and paid the rent. Yes, you see, maltreat me. It becomes a worry to a lot of women. Why do they maltreat? Why does he maltreat me even with all my financial sacrifices? No. Let him feel that you prefer him. You admire him exceedingly. Okay, to understand your point better, saying if he earns 50,000 and you earn, and the lady earns 250,000, now the house should run on 50,000. Just a question. How about them meeting at a point so that the house doesn't run when at a lower amount, when it could actually run at a higher amount for the benefits of the whole family? Why doesn't that work? That is advisable if the woman understands that she is helping the man not taking his role.
Okay.
He should not have had women who came into compromise with their husband, and their husband got to know that they were financially stronger than the man and that they are the one paying all the bills. The way they behave, the way they converse with their friends, when they say, oh, I bought that TV, the man is sitting there, oh, I bought that gas cooker. When I went to the shop, so when they make this statement, the man finds no place in the relationship. So there is resentment. And so even when the woman is desiring of a lot of love, a lot of affection, and appreciation from the husband, he sees resistance and resentment. And he surprises her, why? I help you a lot. Why are you not grateful?
Okay.
The man is grateful, but he's acting in defense of himself, suspecting that you are about to rule or to take over the leadership.
Sorry again, but in a bit to understand this point, don't you think that just maybe the man's security also needs to be built within himself to not see it from the point of the wife coming or trying to be the man or just basically providing? Maybe not overthinking the thoughts behind.
You are right. It takes spiritual maturity for a man to come to that level.
Okay.
It takes a lot of maturity. It's not an easy catch.
Okay.
And a woman too does not have that spiritual strength to resist the temptation of leadership.
Okay.
So leadership is what she seeks and desires.
Yeah.
That's why she always wants to lead. And because she has that nature, the position of financial leadership easily confers on her. She doesn't know when she says words that offend. She didn't intend to. But she says them as a normal woman conversation.
Okay.
Women at Victoria, they love to express the fact and the reality, while men want to conceal what is wrong and try to project what is right.
Is right.
So in this particular matrix, women should understand that if you are not submissive, you can't speak the other love languages. If you buy him a perfume, he's supposed to say, thank you, my wife, with generous appreciation.
Yes.
So if he notices that the next moment he tells you, don't do this, you will disobey him.
Yes.
Can we do it this way? Disobey him. When there is a veto decision, you override him and say, look, I have already planned the trip. You cannot stop me from the trip.
Yeah.
The man begins to see as not submissive to him, and that all your gifts, all your words of affirmation are not incongruous with your behavior. That's why in many families today, during the I have seen traces of unsubmissive characters in the past that the men had kept as a resentment. So when they found themselves locked down, the wife was wondering, what have I done to
Mr.
you?
Theophilus, I'm sorry I would have to cut you at this point, but it's really insightful. And I have learned a lot, even though I'm not yet married, but I'm sure all the married folks watching have understood where the place of submission comes in marriage. Thank you so much for your time. And we are always excited to listen to you on the show.
And I appreciate the time given. Thank you very much.
All right, then. There we have it on love languages. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, Wake Up Nigeria continues.